Hello everyone, it's Jennifer McGuire and thanks for joining me today. Today's video shares some tips and techniques for creating stamped backgrounds. This can be a really fun technique as long as you have a few time-saving tips in mind, which I'll share today. Now I am using some new stamps from Clearly Besotted. I love their stamps and I love the stamp company, but this is something that you could do with any small images that you may have. I'll also show you how to create a quick and easy silver border. So let's go ahead and get started. The stamp set that I am using is new from Clearly Besotted. I just think this is such a classy stamp set. I like that it has 3 sizes of the same snowflake in here, and there are 3 different styles, so you can create a background really easily with these. I also love the sentiment where the word Merry is straight, but the word Christmas is at an angle. So I'm going to follow that angle on my card. So the angle of the word Christmas, I'm going to follow along on my card for the stamping that we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this stamp kind of right where I think it might be. I end up changing it a little bit later on. But I'm just taking my T-ruler and drawing a line that's at the same angle as for Christmas. So I've got the words Merry is straight on my card, but the word Christmas is at an angle. So I'm just going to follow the angle of that and draw a line with my ruler here. So that line is where I'm thinking I'll probably cut my paper. So I'm going to draw another line a little bit below that to kind of be my guide for stamping, which you'll see in a moment. So I have 2 snowflakes here. One is a little bit larger than the other, and I'm putting them onto my acrylic block right up next to each other. I'm touching the tips of them together, and I am also following the line on my acrylic block. I like acrylic blocks like this one from Lawn Fawn that have guidelines, and I have the line down the center of my block lined up with the line formed by the connecting lines of the snowflakes, which you'll see in a moment when I do the stamping. Now here is where the time saving comes into play. I am inking one up with some pool ink, and I'm inking the other up with some green ink. So you can just easily do this right on the edge of your ink pad. Now I'm going to stamp these along the pencil line. You can see the line on my acrylic block lines up, that horizontal line lines up with the line on my paper. So you can see that those snowflakes are directly on that line, that pencil line we did. So by putting these 2 acrylic blocks together, or I'm sorry, the 2 snowflakes together on one acrylic block, inking one up in one color and one in the other color, I save so much time over switching between 2 different images and trying to line them up each time. By having them both on the same block and just inking them with the 2 different colors, I can quickly stamp this pattern. So you can see each time I'm lining up the line on my acrylic block with the pencil line that I drew. Now, if you don't have a line on your acrylic block like I do here, you could put a piece of tape on it to use as kind of a guide. It really makes a big difference to have that guide. Okay, so now I've got to figure out where to put my next line to follow. So I'm just going to stamp this one time, and I'm lining up the tips of the snowflakes with ones that I've already stamped. And now I am going to go ahead and draw the line directly through the center of these so I know where to put all the others. If I don't do the lines, I tend to kind of curve my stamping, so the lines really make a big difference for me. So I drew 2 little marks at the ends of those snowflakes, and I'm going to go ahead and connect that right across my card, and now I have a guideline to follow for all the rest of my snowflakes in that line. If you want to be really accurate, you can check and make sure that this line is perfectly parallel to the other, but really I don't think it has to be that perfect, so I didn't worry about it too much. Okay, so I'm going back to inking one snowflake with the blue and one snowflake with the green, and I'm going to keep stamping that same pattern. And each time I just follow the line of the pencil, and I also line up the tips of my snowflakes with the snowflakes that are already stamped above it. And you can see how it looks like I'm getting this absolutely perfect, but it takes absolutely no time at all because we're doing 2 stamps at once and we're following the pencil lines. I'm going to continue to do this to fill up the whole bottom of this card. Now, if I would have thought about it, I could have done the whole card with this pattern, cut it at that angle, and then I would have the piece on the top and the piece on the bottom, and I could have made 2 cards. But I hadn't thought about that, so I'm actually only stamping the pattern below that first pencil line that we drew. But another option is to create the whole piece, and then you can create more than one card. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase my lines. People ask about the pencil I use. I love these pencils. They've got this super big eraser in here that lasts forever, and it comes with replacements. And then it comes with extra lead. These are the pencils that I use for crafting because I love the eraser and the pencil. And these are the same pencils that my kids use at school. I'll link to them in my YouTube description and over on my blog. They're just fantastic pencils, and they erase so nicely. Okay, so now I decided I actually want to have my pattern go right up against that line that we did so that when we chop it off, the pattern gets chopped off. So I'm going to go ahead and add another row above the stamping that we've already done. So again, I'm stamping some snowflakes, just touch to like tip to tip with the other snowflakes I've done. Draw a line right through those, and then I have my guide to continue stamping that entire row up there. You would be surprised how fast this pattern comes together once you get in the rhythm of stamping it. Now I decided I wanted something tiny to go in between all these snowflakes, so I'm cutting apart this greeting stamp on the bottom and just cutting out the tiny little snowflake. And I'm going to add that into the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this with a gray ink. By the way, it'd be fun to do a few of these cards all with different color combinations, and then you could have a set of cards to give as a gift. But I'm going to stamp this with gray ink in between the others, and this is so quick and easy to do. Since I kind of can follow the points of the snowflakes that have already been stamped, I'm not going to draw any lines as guides. This is such a small image that if it isn't perfect, I don't think it would be very noticeable. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to fill all those areas in. I decided I also wanted to add some silver shine to this. So you see those silver dots next to the gray snowflakes? I did that with this Pilot silver marker. I love these markers. People asked about these, so I thought I'd show you. I'm going to use this silver here today, and this is actually a brand new one, so I could show you how to start it up. You just shake it with the tip facing up, shake it very well, and then you press it onto the paper a few times. Like you press the tip down in to get the ink flowing, and then once it starts flowing, it stays going, and it just really gives you a nice, intense metallic look, very easy. So I decided I was going to just add a few dots in between the green and gray snowflakes that I've stamped, just to kind of connect everything and just add to the pattern that we've created. You could also use a silver gel pen for this if you wanted to, but check out the great metallic shine that you get on those super tiny little dots that we added. This is great to write a message in a card too. I also decided that I wanted to add a little dot to the center of my little gray snowflake. So I have 3 little dots there in the pattern, and I think this just kind of catches the eye because I'm not going to put any embellishments on this card. So to have lots of shine in the pattern itself, I think is fun. Another fun option would have been to stamp those gray snowflakes in a metallic ink or silver heat emboss them. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this into a card. It's quick and easy from here on out. So I'm going to use my wire guide trimmer to cut right down the center of that top row of snowflakes. And now we have it at a fun diagonal. And I know this will line up with the greeting because we did that planning at the beginning. I have just cut my own pool note card here, but I wanted to have a silver strip that just kind of gave a finishing edge to that pattern that we've created. And this is really easy to do. I'm taking a piece of masking tape here. This is like Post-it tape. And I'm just going to mask off a thin little edge there. You could use painter's tape if you have that. I'm just going to mask this off here, put this on some scrap paper, and then I'm going to take that same silver pen and just color on here. Now you could freehand color, but I was afraid that I wouldn't stay straight, so by having that mask on there, I can just go right up against it and know where to add my silver. You could also just cut a thin piece of silver cardstock for this, or put a line of silver heat embossing. But I thought by doing this, the silver metallic of my border would perfectly match the silver metallic dots that we put in the pattern. It's very easy to do, and I can also use the silver pen to write on the inside of the card and address the envelope. So now I'll remove my masking tape and check out that great metallic edge. Okay, so now it's time to just do the finishing touches for this. I need to add this to the card, but first I want to do my heat emboss sentiment. So I'm just going to temporarily adhere this here because I want to come back and put foam tape under it in a bit. So I have my sentiment, and I decided, I really have to be honest with you, I went back and forth on whether I wanted to silver heat emboss this or if I wanted to do something interesting with it. I decided to keep it simple and do a white heat emboss message. So I'm stamping it first with Versamark here, and then I'm going to add my white heat embossing powder. This is Hero Arts White. It's my favorite white embossing powder. And then I'll go ahead and heat set it. I also toyed with the idea of adding maybe some sequins or gems up here by the sentiment, but I really thought it was best to keep the focus on the sentiment and the pattern I created in the background, but you could easily kind of jazz this up with some gems or sequins. Now I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of this piece here and add it to the bottom of my card. I like to stand the card up so it lines up nicely on the bottom, and there we have it. Now there is one last thing I wanted to do. I saved this to the end because it takes time to dry. I have my silver paper pen. This is so easy to squeeze out the same size dots over and over. I'm going to add these to the center of all my snowflakes. What I do is I give an even pressure to this and keep squeezing it, and then just touch the tip to the paper. It's very easy to do, and it doesn't like string up as you put it down. So I went ahead and added that to all of the centers of the snowflakes. So this gives it a tiny bit of dimension and still keeps that silver feel. So this really didn't take that long to create at all, and I think it was really helpful to follow the tips of using the pencil lines, mounting 2 stamps together, and then drawing some of the things in with the silver pen. Now these stamps are new from Clearly Besotted, and we have a Clearly Besotted blog hop going on with prizes, so be sure to click on over to my blog. I have all the products I use linked below my YouTube description, or you can head over to my blog and find out more there. If you found this video interesting and helpful, please let YouTube know that you want to see more from me by giving it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and I hope you'll come back soon.